Right now, we have our special $50 off our lifetime subscription to the #1 educational platform, and included, you'll get in-depth advanced guides to Overwatch at a fat discount. So do yourself a favor and don't miss out on this amazing Christmas special that is going on right now. But I hope you enjoy the video. What's up, everybody? Coach Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Overwatch video. And with an ever-changing meta and a dire need to gain that sweet, sweet SR, I compiled a list of the top 10 best duos to dominate the new meta and give you targeted scenarios and tips and tricks so that you can dominate as a duo queue, being able to carry legitimately any game you come across and climb the ladder with ease. Now, kicking it off with the first duo that I wanted to talk about in this new meta, and it's Hammond Tracer. Now, Hammond has become a rising star more and more, seeing more and more pick rate, and as people get better and better at Hammond, they realize just how powerful this character is. Now, you pair a character with incredibly high mobility and the potential to harass the enemies, and you combine it with a character that has incredibly high mobility and the potential to harass enemies, plus an additional amount of burst damage, and you have the perfect match made in heaven. Basically, pairing these two characters together fix both of their problems. First off, Tracer has a problem where she feels like often she just can't get in. You know, you see opportunities here and there, but the enemy will quickly peel. You're not going to be able to burst people down in quick enough fashion to actually get some definitive value unless you're hitting your pulse bombs, and it can be hard to have impact that's going to actually win you the game. And with Hammond in particular, sometimes you harass, but you can't burst down an enemy enough, even if you get them isolated, because you just don't do enough burst damage. Now, this combo allows you to do things like slam down an enemy and have a Tracer blink in and clip that enemy as they're in a very predictable pattern, or even pulse bomb them. Tracer can easily set up in a position to where if the Hammond baits out some form of mobility like a Hanzo dash, or even better, like a Widowmaker's grapple, the Tracer's there ready to capitalize on the person that doesn't have their mobility anymore. This is an amazing duo, and if you have a partner that you can talk to and be in constant communication with, I think this might be one of the most impactful duos in the entire game right now in any composition. Now, moving on to the next best duo in the meta right now, it's undoubtedly Ashe Mercy. Ashe Mercy is just unstoppable versus some compositions. Legitimately, Ashe Mercy can just not be contested. That's pretty much all I have to say on the matter, but an Ashe can just shrug off a Hammond, shrug off a Diver, shrug off a Doomfist. I mean, Ashe with a Mercy pocket is basically just this unstoppable force that consistently brings value. Not only can the Ashe just generate tons of frontline pressure with dynamites and a lot of burst damage that can kill people out of nowhere, but she's uncontestable as well, and she's playable in basically any composition as this duo. Of course, this is going to work a lot better if your secondary healer is someone that can heal up your team, so the Mercy can primarily focus on the Ashe, damage boosting and pocketing that Ashe, because the Ashe is just going to be able to one-shot, headshot a lot of different characters. But as long as there's proactive communication between when the Mercy is going to separate from the Ashe, or when the Ashe wants to go make a play or anything like that, this is going to be a very consistent combo that if you are any bit capable on Mercy and Ashe together, I promise you're going to have a 60% win rate or better in this current meta. Now, moving on to the next agent combo that I think is legitimately very, very powerful and has been for quite a while, it's Sigma McCree. Now, first off, taking an off angle is very powerful on Sigma or McCree separately, but when you put them together on an off angle, they demand respect. Sigma and McCree together is going to do and dish out a ton of damage, and the fact that both of these have CCs means they really can't be pushed very easily. This means you could be playing something like, let's say you're playing specifically Hanamura on second point defense, McCree and Sigma can be playing above middle arches, and your team could be playing on the top left high ground, and it basically puts them in a terrible situation where if they go main, you're going to get spammed down by a McCree and Sigma in their back. If they try to push a McCree and Sigma, that's incredibly difficult to do, not to mention the top left high ground is going to be firing at them, and if they try to push the top left high ground, McCree and Sigma are just going to be uncontested. It's basically like a no-win scenario for the enemy team. Now, on top of this, this is a very, very powerful ult combination. First off, it's just a high noon with a Sigma shield, can be very, very strong, and can be set up even when the Sigma is like coming at a spawn and the McCree is on a flank, if you just throw your shield far enough. And of course, the Sigma ultimate plus high noon is very, very powerful and consistent. All in all, if you're looking for a tank DPS hit scan duo, I would highly suggest this duo. Then moving on to the next characters that we got for you on the list. In our number 4 spot, we have Reaper and Mei. And this is one that's not necessarily great in this particular meta, but I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't matter what meta it is. Reaper and Mei is an amazing DPS duo. The thing about Reaper and Mei is it presents a question to the enemy, and it's, can you stop us? And that's pretty much the question that they're asking, and they're specifically asking it to the DPS. Now, the thing is, when you are in the lower ranks, a lot of times the answer will be no. The DPS will do nothing about a Reaper and Mei literally walking onto the tanks and killing them when the tanks have no counterplay. Turns out freeze plus burst damage is actually just completely overpowered because the enemy tank can't do anything about it, and your enemy tanks, your Reinhardts, your monkeys, they're gonna absolutely hate this duo. Now, on top of that, even as your enemies get better, you do have a lot of counterplay, with specifically Reaper and Mei both having the ability to fade in and out with Ice Block and, of course, the Wraith. So using this to dodge cooldowns like Hook, Rock, Stun, that could be a way that you still outplay a lot of even competent DPS and CC. But even so, this is a dominant duo that I think gets so much intrinsic value, and frankly, it's gonna win a lot of games, particularly at the lower ranks, for absolute free. Now, the next duo that we gotta talk about in this video is none other than Zarya Doomfist. A lot of times in this meta, one of the big problems, especially when you're playing Zarya with like a Wrecking Ball, or better yet, a Sigma, you're gonna have a hard time getting energy. Now, enter your partner in crime, Doomfist, where not only is he gonna consistently feed you charge so you could just be more effective, a Doomfist with a bubble, I've repeated it many, many times in the past, is just straight up not fair in the game of Overwatch. If there's any target that's isolated, a McCree that's isolated, a Brig that's isolated, it doesn't really matter. If they're isolated and a Doomfist comes at them, they have one chance to stop it with their CC, and that's it. But the thing is, if that Doomfist gets a bubble, he's just gonna be able to kill you and get out for free. Because of the speed of time to kill and the fact that you really only need to tank the cooldown based CC, like Sleep and Stun and Hook, it doesn't matter that the bubble won't protect you for tons of damage because you're in and out so fast, you already got that kill, you already got that value, and you're getting out. And this is a mutually beneficial relationship where even a bad Doomfist, if I'm being honest, can rack up the kills with a Zarya that consistently bubbles him, and consistent communication between the Zarya and the Doomfist. Don't even get me started about how the fact that their ultimates combo so perfectly well together, you got a match made in heaven from the tank and DPS role. I'm sorry for all you Zen, Ana, and McCree mains out there that is gonna get farmed by this duo. Moving on to the next character combo that we got for you in this video, it's actually Bap and Rein. This is a tried and true combo that is still incredibly powerful. The thing about this is Rein can afford to be really hyper aggressive, especially when he's wrapping around a corner, because he can keep getting cleaves off into the enemy Rein, and when that enemy Rein overextends into him, your Rein has a get out of jail free card with the lamp. The important thing here though is to be hyper communicative about when that lamp is coming down, and Rein needs to trust that you are going to lamp him before he dies. This is a really, really big trust thing, but it's very, very important so that Rein never backs up when he was going to get lamp in the first place, and then essentially just waste some of the potential value of lamp. On top of this, it's very important to be on the same page as far as specifically the amplification matrix, because as we know, Rein Fire Strike plus Amp Matrix will kill any 200 HP hero, which could be amazing to kick off that ultimate with an initial pick, and you need to make sure that you're communicating at the same time, because a lot of times enemies will be expecting it. If the amp comes up and the Fire Strike's not coming up, it's even better if the Fire Strike is actually already being cast and then the amplification matrix come up, so the enemy have no time to react to it. Then move on to the next combo that we got for you in this video. In our 7th place, it's actually Lucio Roadhog, and this is a combo that I have been preaching over and over again on this channel because it is really, really powerful. Speeding around a one-shot killing machine is not only going to allow him to get more kills, but is also just going to enable him to basically never die against enemies that are looking to punish him. If your Roadhog is getting a consistent amount of value, all you have to do is bail him out and enable him, and you'll win the game as a result. However, some things that Roadhog can contest, specifically characters like snipers, like Widowmaker, Lucio can actually go on the offensive and shut that down, or at the very least harass her so she doesn't get value. This is a really solid duo that I think isn't played enough, specifically with both of the characters working together with each other in mind, and I think it's something that if you're looking for a duo that is probably just going to get a certain amount of consistent value in every game you play, fight, this one might be the one you want to pick up. Then we're going to the next character duo that we got for you in this video, and it's actually Ana Brig. Now, this is a great combo for ranked in particular because Brig basically gets to protect the Ana that is trying to make these plays. A lot of times, Ana's value is immense, and as such, the enemy is going to be constantly going for your Ana. Whether it's a Tracer, a Doomfist, sometimes even tanks, they all want to kill your Ana or basically make it so she can't do her job. But a Brig could say, nah, get away, Hammond, get away, Doomfist, and get away from my Ana. On top of that, the increase in heal that is created from the Biotic Nade is even more amplified when you have a Brig Inspire and AoE heal. And while this combo doesn't necessarily synergize with a lot of different tanks, I do think it brings a ton of value and power level, specifically in the support duo category. And I think a lot of times, especially in a lot of the lower ranks, as a duo, you could bring so much consistent value to your team that you're probably just gonna win just from the sheer fact that the enemy never finds an opportunity to punish or farm you, the supports. Then we go to the next duo that I wanted to talk about in this video. Very, very powerful duo that is basically usable in every single composition, and it's double sniper Hanzo Widowmaker. This is one of the few DPS duos that I think legitimately hard counter Ashe Mercy because snipers can actually outrange her, and of course together they're even more oppressive. Not to mention, if the enemy has even a single sniper like one Hanzo or one Widow, it's going to be very hard for them to challenge the cross-angling snipers of Hanzo and Widow, especially when Hanzo can give your Widowmaker an unfair advantage with Sonic Arrow and just allow that Widow to farm an enemy Widow over and over and over again. On top of this, specifically in ranked play, Hanzo and Widow can actually be played with almost any composition because if you're talking about something like a dive, you could input value from further away, and if you're talking about something like double shield, you're just consistently taking off angles and trying to get value. This combo really weighs in on and abuses the most overpowered aspect of this game, which is undoubtedly one-shotting people, and it gives you a lot of room to grow, and you are definitely gonna have a lot of impact in the hands of you two, capable of carrying just about any game if you really tap into the power level of these two heroes. Now moving on to the last character combo that I wanted to talk about in this video, and it's Double Fly, aka Echo and Pharah. Now, this is a composition that I really think as a DPS duo you can swap to when you see the right circumstances. So if you ever see a scenario where you're trying to take a first point, let's say Eichenwald, and the enemy doesn't have a hit scan, you could easily just swap to Double Fly as long as you have some amount of supports that can enable you, specifically characters like Ana, Brig, Zen, or Mercy. Now a lot of times if you swap up one person to like a Pharah, the enemy can kind of manage. A Hanzo can get a little pot shots here and there, the enemy can kite away, and they can deal with one flyer by simply denying the LOS of that person. But if you instantly swap from whatever characters you're playing to Double Fly, now all of a sudden you are challenging them on a completely different axis, and if they're playing something like, I don't know, Junkrat Reaper, what the hell are they gonna do? They're just honestly gonna get farmed by your Double Fly, and they're gonna be forced to swap, but it doesn't matter at that point. Not only do you just get to cap that point for free, but honestly, an Echo can just stay an Echo, and by that point, you might have already built up an ultimate, and you could just snowball from there. But I do think that this is an amazing composition that, at the very least, you should learn how to play with your duo partner, because you can whip it out in some of these scenarios that are just gonna get you a free checkpoint or some free value before the enemy swaps off to counter you. But mastering any of these duos is only a click away on the GameLeap website, where we have in-depth advanced VOD reviews, advanced tips and tricks, in-depth guides. I mean, we got it on the GameLeap website. So do yourself a favor, go check it out in the links down below. And remember, we are doing VOD reviews on this channel from now on. So if you want to be included, please put your name down below, the character you play, your SR, any comments you have for me, and your replay code, and you have a chance of being put on the channel. But anyways, that's all I got for you today. Thanks so much for coming by. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm Coach Mills, of course. Until next time.